I did not meet up with my ex until a month before I had my daughter. I had no sexual contact with my ex or anybody else but your brother, Christina.
Today's case definitely broke the internet after it was aired. An old couple are in court today to confirm the paternity of their 23-year-old daughter. Now, you would be wondering why they waited this long if there have always been doubts about her paternity. Well, at least they are here now. So let's hear their story.
Ms. Connolly, you are here today to petition the court for a paternity test for your 23-year-old daughter, Artishia Connolly.
Yes.
You say that you were sleeping with another man during the time Artishia was conceived, and after 23 years, you still don't know for sure if Mr. Harrison is your daughter's biological father.
Ms. Artishia Connolly shares how hurtful it was for her to grow up without a father figure in her life. She claims her potential biological father was never there for her since was born, and that's why they are all in court today to get clarity on her paternity. As she gives her testimony, you can see how emotional the situation makes her feel.
I've experienced feelings of abandonment. I've been lonely. I've never had a lot of friends. I've only kept about 2 or 3 friends. And on the top of that, people didn't like me, and I've always wondered, why is it that this person doesn't want to be involved with me? And then I have to deal with the reality of my own father, who's alive and well, not in jail, not dead, not in another state.
Now, why would you take care of kids that aren't yours and neglect a child that could be yours for over 20 years? Mr. has got some real explanation to give, and boy, he gave substantial reasons for his doubts and actions. And believe me when I tell you this, you couldn't have imagined what his reasons for neglecting his fatherly role for Ms. Artishia are.
I had my doubt down through the years. Despite the fact of my doubt, I should have and could have done a better job, but I didn't.
Explain to the court your doubt. Where did your doubt begin?
Well, when we met, we had a relationship, and one daughter was born, and at the time, she said, well, that's not your child.
But it wasn't your child.
Right, so I just kept on.
It was proven to be so.
Right.
Fascinatingly, Mrs. Connolly confessed that at first she wasn't sure who Ms. Artishia's biological father was. She felt embarrassed about the possibility of the child not being Mr. Harrison's because she had disappointed him with the previous child she conceived. Knowing that the first child she had wasn't his, it's only natural for him to have the doubts he's always had about being Ms. Artishia's biological father. It's surely a hard pill to swallow.
I was a party girl, like, you know, when I used to go out a lot, I used to sell drugs, hang in the street, party animal. And at that time, Linda came in my life. I was walking down the street, he was driving down the street, and he picked me up, like, you know, like I was a trick or something, you know, like he was looking for some fun or something. At the time, we exchanged numbers, you know, and he gave me some money, and then through the years, he romanced me, he picked me up from work, brought me flowers, just picked me up.
The interesting thing is this, he stayed married to her, even though she cheated on him with someone else and had a baby for the other man. Whoa. He must have really loved her so much that he allowed his feelings for her cloud his judgment. With all that she did to him and his capability to forgive and move on with her, you would expect her to quit her street life and focus on her family, but she didn't.
Somehow you all stayed together.
Yeah, we stayed together, and you know, because I tried to be a good wife, you know, I was, you know, still selling drugs, doing things that I was, you know, out in the street, partying, having fun. Then they would go to work, come home. I was a good person, you know, I'll be there, you know, take care of the kids. When my girlfriend come around, you know, he'll babysit, or I take the baby to my mom, and we'll go out, because he was born, he was a bam.
The question remains though, why are Mrs. Connolly and her daughter requesting for a DNA test now? Why didn't they ask for it years ago if they were certain Mr. Harrison is Ms. Artishia's biological father? Does sound fishy, doesn't it? The whole situation fueled the defendant's doubts even more, and we can't blame him for that, can we?
My point is that I think 23 years, they're asking the question, now, why not now? But I think this could have stopped a long time ago. She would have went to court and asked for child support. That would have solved all this right then and there.
She said she did.
I did. I've been.
She never took me to court and asked for child support.
Nobody could
So, I mean,
find you. You're always gone.
Besides
You're
the point, it ain't your job to find me. The law will find
Well,
me.
I found you
If
now.
I'm guilty, the law will find me, and they'll bring me to justice.
In her defense, Mrs. Connolly tries to make a point that she was behind bars when she had Ms. Artishia, so she couldn't reach Mr. Harrison herself. But hold on a second, didn't she confess that she had sexual relations with other men besides him? So that means he isn't the only man who could be her daughter's biological father.
But let me explain to you. I was in prison. My mom and my dad had my children. So my mom, she
grandparents
was
took
getting
care of
public
me.
assistance. The court was trying to find him. They couldn't find him because if you want public assistance, they automatically try to get you public child support. We'll try to find them.
So your mother had the court trying to find him, but they could not find him.
Right, no.
But
Apparently, Mr. Harrison did try to reach out to Ms. Artishia when she was 18, but they didn't get along. Afterward, she tried reaching out to him, but it was difficult for her to locate him. But when she finally did, he couldn't recognize her.
All through the baby, the pictures, this is the only picture that she has with him since she was a baby. She hasn't seen him no more than 5 times through her entire life.
My first semester at college, that's when I met him. That's when I first spent time with him. It was weird. He was trying to be a father, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I just turned 18. I'm about to go party.
Moving forward, Ms. Artishia understands why her potential father has doubts about being her biological father. But what she isn't ready to settle with is him not treating her fairly. She believes he didn't put in enough effort to get the situation resolved. On that note, we can agree with her. Mr. Harrison should have done the needful regardless of his doubts.
the root of his doubt, where it comes from.
Yes, I do, but it takes two. It takes two people to have a child, and if he had doubts, he should have tried himself. You can't just blame it on her.
I'm not even talking about blame. I'm talking about doubt. Do you understand?
Yeah, I understand.
Now we get why this case broke the internet, but we still haven't gotten to the root of the matter. Is Mr. Harrison Ms. Artishia's biological father or not? Only the DNA test result can reveal that, so let's hear it.
Mr. Harrison, you are her father.
Congratulations. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Well,
I never introduced her into my family for my doubt. I let my doubt get the best of me.
Today's court case is about Ms. Franzoni, her mother, and potential biological father. According to her claims, Ms. Camille, her mother is literally a bad woman, and she's the reason she had to spend her entire life up to this point without a father figure. However, she's more than sure that the man waiting outside the courtroom, Mr. Mark Bromar, is her biological father. But is the man in question really her father? And how did her mother wrong her? Let's find out together.
Ms. Franzoni, you say that you believe in your heart after 3 decades of questions and doubts that you know the identity of your biological father. You claim your mother, Mrs. Bailey, has misled you, abandoned you, and hidden the truth from you your entire life. Now today, you've brought her to court to learn the results of a paternity test.
Ms. Franzoni claims that the man her mom made her to believe is her father isn't really her father. Okay, that's a very strong claim, and we can't help but wonder why she would doubt her mother's words. Isn't her mother in the best position to point out who her real father is? Something isn't right, and the deeper we go into it, the more clarity we will get.
I grew up not knowing my dad, and I only had 2 moms in my life, my godmother and my mom. And it's just at some point there was some doubt about who exactly was my father. And my mom had introduced me to a gentleman, and I just did not feel in my heart that he was my father.
Apparently, she's been hearing rumors from trusted sources that Mr. Bromar could be her biological father. According to her, she and the man in question share many characteristics. As a result, she believes those rumors are true. Now, who are those trusted sources that make her doubt her mother's words?
I just wasn't satisfied. And also, you know, my late grandmother told me a story that kind of sounded similar to the other stories that I heard about a gentleman, Mark Bomar, my mother met years ago, right around the time of my conception. And 9 months later, here was me.
Ms. Hallams confirms her goddaughter's claims when she steps upon the podium to give her testimony. But as she states her claims, Ms. Camille cuts in to refute them. Ms. Camille believes her daughter's godmother has always been trying to turn her daughter against. Now, how true is that?
For one thing, when Miss Camille told me that she was pregnated, I asked her who she was pregnated by, and she said Mark Beaumont or the other
I did not say
candidate.
that. She's making that up. I did not tell her that.
Even though she argued that Mr. Mark isn't her daughter's biological father, Ms. Camille did admit to some things that further increases the chances that the rumors might be true. But the crazy thing is this. Ms. Camille claims that she and Ms. Hallam choose to change the story behind Ms. Franzoni's paternity for some reasons only known to them. This is a really messed up situation.
Mr. Bomar being one of those.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, take me back and let me understand this situation.
We were not in a relationship. It was some just, I was young. We did this, that, and the other. Maxine and I got together. It was her idea that we would just, create this story.
Here is where it gets more interesting. Ms. Camille tells the court the reason she believes her daughter didn't accept the man she introduced to her as her father. But the truth is, we don't get to decide who our biological parents are. Things like that are way beyond us.
5 years ago, when she came back to Cincinnati, I introduced her to him. He was in a bad situation. I could, if somebody took me to meet my father and he was in that type of situation, I would stomp my feet and not want him to be my father either.
Rather than accepting her mother's claims, the plaintiff claims creates her own argument. She claims her mother's words aren't enough to convince her, but we all know the substantial proof the DNA test will offer, so we all have to play the waiting game till the results are read.
That's her father.
I mean, but even if I didn't, even if she told me, I still wouldn't have believed it because I want concrete, factual evidence.
And I want a test. I understand that.
It's evident that Ms. Camille had a messy past, and that led to the situation on ground right now. Again, Ms. Hallam alleges that Ms. Franzoni's mother once told her about the possibility of Mr. Mark being her child's biological father. But here's the thing, it's just her words against hers at this point.
Now, there is reason to doubt.
Let me explain it to you.
Miss Halams, please.
Renee, Mrs. Camille, told me that it was either Mark Beaumont or the other
I
man.
did not tell you
Now,
that.
she don't remember Mark Beaumont. She told Maxina that I was making this up for years.
Now, it feels like this case is beyond just trying to prove who Ms. Franzoni's biological father is. It feels like a battle between two mothers. Apparently, Ms. Camille failed as a mother in the early years of her daughter's life, and Ms. Hallam stepped up. But now, she's fighting to claim her daughter back. But we don't need a paternity test for that, do we?
If Maxine
They got the
would
DNA
stop
test.
meddling
If they got the DNA
and let
test.
me and my daughter have our own relationship, she's done this for years. I know I wasn't the best
It ain't
mother.
been
I
for
know, and I
years.
appreciate this woman for being there, because she was. But the meddling and the trying to compete.
And the remembering.
It's time to hear Mr. Bromar's side of the story. He claims his relationship with Ms. Camille wasn't a lengthy one, but they had sexual relations. Another thing is this, the window of conception, and when they were together, further increases his chances of being Ms. Franzoni's biological father.
And I ended up in her mother's building, and I was questioning her mother.
And you met her.
And her mother said, listen, I have a beautiful daughter that I would really like for you to meet. When she came in, I met her, and so we talked for a while and took her out to dinner.
Now we get why this case broke the internet, but as interesting as it's been, we've to get to the main reason this court hearing took place, the DNA test. So let's cut to the chase.
Mr. Bomar, you are not her father. I'm sorry to you both.
Like a princess, like Cinderella, like everything that every little girl can imagine wanting and having from their father. So it's just been a great experience on that level, and I don't want it to change either anyway.
Mr. Banner has been arrested for a $7,000 child support debt. Fascinatingly, he hasn't even been able to see the child he's meant to pay child support for. That's why he's charged the defendant, Ms. Fahey, to court to confirm the child's paternity. What a case we've got in our hands today. Don't go nowhere.
Mr. Bonner, you say Ms. Fahey's claims of paternity have led you to being arrested with $7,000 of debt for a child. You claim, now you say you're here today to establish paternity, so you'll either be allowed to take part in your daughter's life or sever your connection to Ms. Fahey.
On the other hand, the defendant believes the plaintiff is her daughter's father. However, she claims they reached an awkward agreement when she conceived, but he failed to keep his end of the bargain. adoption. Here comes the question. What kind of agreement did they reach? Let's find out together.
Miss Fahey, you argue that your ex-boyfriend, Mr. Bonner, is indeed the father of your 3-year-old daughter, Neveja. You said he agreed to help you raise her despite knowing there was another possible father, but then 7 months into your pregnancy, he left you to be with another woman.
If two white people have sexual relations, they are bound to have a white baby, right? Well, the baby under discussion isn't as white as her mother or her alleged father. This case sounds so bizarre and at the same time, very funny. It will be fascinating to see where it leads to at the end of the day.
Tell me how two white people make a brown baby.
Oh,
Your Honor.
well, please elaborate.
It appears that a lot of cheating occurred on both sides in their relationship, and that makes the situation more awkward. In the midst of the back and forth cheating, Ms. Fahey got pregnant, and it's only logical that Mr. Banner would doubt being the baby's father. Interestingly, the defendant admits to something that adds to the plaintiff's doubts.
We were together, I cheated on her, and then she called me saying she's pregnant.
You're in a relationship.
Correct.
But you both are cheating.
Right,
Okay.
one time. I did it first, then she went her way, slept with her.
Your Honor, that's a lie. He cheated on me, and then I split up with him. I turned around, and a month later, I hooked up with my ex.
Presumably, when the baby was born, she was white, but as she grew older, she got a bit darker. What's intriguing is that Ms. Fahey has an almost believable explanation for that. However, Mr. Banner neutralizes her claims with his.
My daughter was white, okay? My daughter does have a little bit of color to her. But that does not mean nothing because my mother, she has color to her. So that does not mean nothing. I was a dark child. Well, my mother was she was kind of dark skin complected. She had the dark hair,
Right.
the dark skin.
A beautiful olive complexion.
Yes, and
she
genetic.
had.
Although the plaintiff was there when the defendant initially got pregnant, he left her when the pregnancy got heavy. Now, why would Did choose to leave at that delicate moment? Well, here is his explanation for his actions.
All
Mr.
7
Bonner,
months.
why is it at 7 months pregnant you decided you were going to leave?
At that time, I was on drugs. I wanted the party life. I was messing up.
So you admit that you were making a mistake and
Correct.
messing up. You just were going down the wrong path.
Yes, Your Honor.
Here comes the interesting part, and I bet you didn't see this coming. After the child was born, Mr. Banner was present at the hospital to sign the birth certificate, but they didn't let him. Now, why wouldn't they let him sign the birth certificate if the child is his? The answer to this question will surprise you.
My daughter was born.
And she didn't let me sign the birth certificate.
No,
I went in the
Your Honor, that's not
she
true.
dropped me off to
Your
the
Honor,
to the
that's not
hospital,
true.
and I said, let me.
They would not let him
No,
sign the
no.
birth certificate
She
because
said, let me
I was married. He wanted
Well,
to
you
sign
shouldn't be marrying
the
illegal
birth
immigrants.
certificate.
As it turns out, Mr. Banner developed a connection with the baby after she was born, but he didn't care about Ms. Fahey's well-being. Perhaps deep down he believes the child is his but was punishing the defendant for cheating on him by not caring for them both.
Then when you had the baby, he comes back and he accepts the baby.
I said, Brock, if you do not feel like my daughter is yours, then get up and walk after you see her. Turn around and walk away and I'll be okay and I'll apologize to you if that's how you feel. Brock turned around and came into that hospital room. Brock held my daughter.
What's more is that Mr. Banner did accept that he's the child's father at some point, and he even agreed to the documentation of the child support in his name. Now, why would he do that if he was so sure the baby doesn't belong to him? It just makes no sense.
Brock was living with my brother. I said, Brock, you got a court date. I went into the courtroom. Brock turned around. Me and Brock was still in a relationship at the time. Brock told me, go ahead and say, I am the father. I said, Brock, are you sure? He said, yes. I turned around.
Did she ask you this, Mr. Bonner?
Yeah, I said I'll be the father of the baby, but I didn't know they was gonna hit me with child support all this.
At the end of it all, we understand now that Mr. Banner was in and out of his responsibilities as a father for the little girl, but he can't do that no more if the DNA test proves him to be the child's biological father. So yes, let's hear the test result.
Mr. Bonner, you are not her father.
I'm sorry.
Told you, man. See.
I'm sorry. I mean, you knew it wasn't like you didn't know. I mean, I have told
Now
you
look,
from
I'm
day
paying child
one.
support. They're gonna stick me in jail.
Okay, and you said the next thing what you would have to do from there is to show him.
The court case we're presenting you today will get you to the edge of your seats. 3 sisters are requesting paternity tests and charging their mother to court because they believe she is irresponsible and unfit to be called a mother. Whoa! How bad can a mother be that her 3 children would agree to go against her publicly? If you as much blink, you could miss an interesting part of this case, so stay tuned and act active.
You are here today with your two sisters because you say you're tired of being lied to by your mother, Ms. Liddell. You all claim she wasn't a good mother and say her promiscuous behavior is the reason you need the results of a paternity test today.
Ms. Liddell, the defendant and mother of the beautiful young ladies, admits her wrongdoings, but claims her daughters are being unjust. We are all intrigued as to why this issue is a court case and not settled in-house. But hey, they would have strong reasons for coming to court with it, or else they won't be here today.
Ms. Liddell, you admit you haven't been the best mother, but you say your daughters are being unfair. You claim they're still punishing you for the mistakes you've made in the past, and today you want it to end.
One of the sisters, Ms. Lisa, will go first. The young woman claims she's been an outcast in the family. She feels she's been told so many lies from her childhood, and when the time finally came for her doubts to be put into the light, her mom never showed up. So that increased the resentment she feels for her.
Well, Your Honor, I was always the outcast of me and my two sisters because, you know, being the baby, I'm the youngest. And I felt like ever since I was born, I've been lied to.
And you always felt left out from your sisters. Tell me about the paternity issues.
It was this man who was supposedly had been my father, and we were all wanting to know.
Defending herself, Ms. Little claims there was never a time she was meant to show up that she didn't. What's more is that she claims her daughters got their deceptive and manipulative skills from her. Whoa. Okay, we've only just started the hearing and it's already so chaotic in the courtroom.
There was never a paternity test, so I don't know where they're getting it from. One thing I tell you about my three daughters, they are manipulated. Just like me, just like me, they are liars, just like me. It's the truth.
Like we're not even
It's
her
the
kid.
truth.
Focusing on the main issue, it appears that their mother made them believe that Mr. Williams is their father. But the thing is, they don't believe he is. Now, what in the world could have made these ladies have such doubts that caused them to resent their mother this much? Well, whatever the answer to that question is, the man under discussion, although not present in the courtroom, has been tested. So we're definitely getting to the bottom of this issue today.
Okay, when I was growing up, family members would say, no, he's not your father. It was a rumor going around that.
Who is that?
James.
The man who's going to appear in court today and has been tested.
Yes.
After hearing all that, you would think you've heard it all. But no, you haven't. It happened that Lisa was once out with her mom and her baby. A stranger approached her mom. The funny thing is that he seemed to be an old acquaintance of her mom's, but she allegedly acted like she didn't know him.
After I had my son was 3 months. We go to the gas station. A man notices my mother, but she does not notice him. He calls out her name. Who are you? He's talking about some, so you don't know who I am. She's talking about some, I don't know you. Talking about some, yes you do. She's talking about some, oh.
Could it be that the man that approached their mom at the gas station is also a potential father to either of the sisters? Right now, we can't tell. But Ms. Liddell surely has a lot to do regardless of the outcome of the tests if she's ever going to get on her daughter's good sides. Because these ladies have lots of substantial reasons to hate her guts.
I was never there for them. I'll give them that. I wasn't about enough. I didn't even love myself, so how could I love them? I think the best thing that I did was to give them to family, because if they would stay with me, either they'll be separated away from me.
She didn't take a chance to try to raise us.
At this point, Ms. Liddell chooses to be honest with the court. Her truthfulness proves that her daughters aren't doing wrong by resenting her, but yet she's still their mother, and working things out would be the best option. And the first step to working things out is taking the DNA test, which they've done. So all we have to do now is wait for the outcome.
Jamie, no. Lisa, no. Jasmine, no. I'm not for sure if James is their father, if he's not their father, because I was whorish. I did me. I ran the streets. Okay, you can keep your slab remark. I was whorish. I didn't care about nobody or nothing.
But can you help them figure this out? You say,
as you would expect, Mr. Williams has a lot of doubts about fathering the ladies when the judge asked him about it via video conference. Oh, he had a lot to say about their mother's character back when he met her. So you can tell where his doubts stemmed from.
do you believe you are these young girls' biological father? Do you believe that?
Deep in my heart, Your Honor, and I hate to say it, and it's hurting me to say it too. But no, I do not.
You don't act like it, so it shouldn't be hurting you. He said no. You don't act like it. You sure don't act like it.
What are your doubts? What are your doubts based
don't believe he's your daddy.
I always had the doubt in my heart.
I believe it's about time we heard the test results because there's no point going back and forth with the hearing. It's all down to knowing whether or not Mr. Williams is the father of any of the sisters. So let's have it.
When it comes to Ms. Jasmine Williams, Mr. Williams, you are her father. Ms. Lisa Williams, Mr. Williams, you are not her father. Ms. Jamie Williams, Mr. Williams, you are not her father.
Thank you, James, for what you did for me. Thank you. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you.
Have you ever heard about a DNA testing scam? Oh, I bet you didn't see this one coming. That's the case of Ms. Lopez and Mr. Caberjal, as they appear before Judge Lauren to confirm the paternity of their children. Now, who ran the DNA testing scam and why did they do it? We will find out soon enough.
Ms. Lopez, you are here today because you claim the defendant, Mr. Carbajal, allegedly perpetuated a DNA testing scam to try to deny paternity of your kids. You say you are tired of struggling daily to take care of your children alone and you need to prove he's their biological father today.
Yes, Your Honor.
The story of the plaintiff and the defendant was somewhat like that of love at first sight because of what went down on their first date, or maybe not, because there's an argument about how that went down. Well, either way, they had unprotected sex at some point, and it doesn't seem like it happened once.
She told me, hey, come see me, for the weekend or just one night. So I went to go see her, and that day that I went to go see her, she'd be like, we basically had sex that first night.
It was not that
yes,
first night.
It was.
No,
yes, it
no,
was
it
the first
wasn't.
night. Yes,
No.
it was. Yes, it was.
No, it was not.
Yeah, whatever.
Ms. Lopez, you meet and you start a relationship.
Yes.
Apparently, it was never love at first sight. Instead, it was about pleasure to Mr. Caberjal. Ms. Lopez claims she discovered the hard truth when she got pregnant and told him about it. What makes the paternity situation less complicated is the amount of sex partners she had while she was intimate with the defendant. However, we really can't tell if she's been truthful or not at this point in time.
Your Honor, after I found out I was pregnant, he did not have anything to say. We talked later, and he was still in shock, telling me that he didn't want to have a baby with someone he did not love.
Hold on. So at that time, you told him you're pregnant.
Yes.
He didn't seem to be that enthused.
No, he was not.
For clarity, this case isn't about one kid, but about 2 children. The defendant's doubts are evident as he makes a ridiculous claim on why the plaintiff is attempting to pin the children on him. However, the young woman disputes his claim and states why it's important for her to get her kid's paternity sorted out.
You're the mother of 2 children.
Yes, Your Honor.
But there is a doubt as to the paternity to both of the children. That's what you contend, Mr. Carbajal?
Yes, Your Honor.
Let's start with your daughter that's 2 years old, Aliana.
Yes.
So you claim Mr. Carbajal was the only person you were with.
Yes, Your Honor.
During that time she
Yes,
was
Your Honor.
conceived.
Ms. Lopez claims Mr. Caberjal once told her he believed he fathered her older child, a 2-year-old girl. Besides that, he did something that would make you question why he has doubts now after the child was born. Even now, the defendant can't deny how attracted he was to the child after birth. But what happened to the love now?
He says he's the father. He's even has her name tattooed on his arm. He was there a
You
week.
have her name
Yes, I do,
tattooed
Your
on your
Honor.
arm?
Yes.
Yes, I do.
Even though you doubted?
Because when she was first born, I was attached to her. I was really attached to
Okay,
her.
so you were attached to her. So then why doubt? What made you doubt?
She was the picture.
No, there was another man.
There
that
was
she
not
showed.
another
She
man.
showed my sister Miriam.
Now, in terms of the younger child, a baby boy, the defendant's doubts started right from when he was born. He claims the plaintiff didn't allow him sign his alleged son's birth certificate. What a minute. Why would she do that if he's indeed the boy's biological father? Oh, there's more reasons as to why he doubts being the father of the baby boy besides that.
Well, when he was first born, she didn't let me sign his birth certificate. I didn't even sign his birth certificate. Why wouldn't she let me? She's saying I'm the father. Why couldn't I sign a birth certificate?
Because you weren't there from the beginning.
I was there.
I was there when they both were born.
Hold on, Miss Avila, please stand up. Stand up.
It seems to mean that Ms. Lopez didn't help the situation either. We get that Mr. Caberjal did some wrong by not being there when he was supposed to be there, but she did something utterly wrong to get back at him, and that fueled his doubts even more.
That was
to
Your
get back
Honor,
at you
why would
because
she
you're
send that?
not responsible.
Your
You're
Honor.
having
And
been
she was
there.
pregnant.
So,
No,
Ms.
at that
Lopez,
time. And
Ms.
that-
Lopez, you sent him a picture
I sent him a picture to
of
show
Why
someone
would you
else
send him-
holding a child that you said was his?
I sent it because to show him that there would be another man,
Why would it-
possibly,
why would it be another
man?
possibly,
Why would it
okay,
be another
possibly to man up and take care of his responsibility.
The truth about the DNA test scam is beyond shocking. I could stake a wager that no one saw this coming. But hey, let's hear Judge Lake read out the DNA test for the 2-year-old girl.
2-year-old Aliana Lopez Carbajal. Mr. Carbajal, you are not her father. Okay, now we have the answers for Aliana. We still have to get Noah's.
My mom wouldn't have spent so much money on those tests to
We
be
spend a
swabbing
lot of
other
money.
people.
We spend a
other
lot of
kids.
money to do those tests.
Now this whole story is really twisted. No wonder it has so many views on the internet. Regardless of how suspenseful and interesting it has been, I'm afraid we have to conclude it right now with the outcome of the 1-year-old boy's DNA test result. So let's get on with it.
As it pertains to 1-year-old Noah Lopez Carbajal. Mr. Carbajal, you are not.
Thank you.
Noah's
Thank
father.
you, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
What do you gotta say? What do you gotta say for yourself, huh? Why you been lying to me that they're my kids when they're not?
And you know, my
Who you
mom
been
got really
sleeping with?
attached to them.